what I love about us? 5 minutes. We're arguing about whether you butter a croissant or whether you don't. Give us 2 seconds for something really political, like for some injustice. We're all together. We are banded all together. I love that about Gen Z.
Dinner with Friends podcast. Y'all hungry?
Breaking news. This is a new episode of Dinner with Friends, and we have indeed decked the halls. Welcome back, everyone. How are you guys feeling today?
I'm feeling good.
Okay.
I'm feeling great.
Yeah, very
And,
festive.
Very
with our-
festive.
If you're
Well,
not
speaking
watching, there is
of-
a stocking and a bow.
There is a stocking and a bow.
Some pine cones.
But I mean, by the time this airs, it's not even going to be Christmas
Yeah.
time, too. But we're preparing you guys for next
Season.
Christmas.
Yes. Greetings.
Just watch it next year. You can just keep it.
Oh,
put
that's
it
so
on there.
real.
Literally,
Yeah.
come back every year.
Marketing.
Listen, it's like how Party City starts a holiday right after the next one ends.
Yes.
We're essentially starting Christmas 2024, the beginning
Right
of
now.
January.
No.
Start your Christmas shopping right now.
Yes.
So, guys,
Yeah.
speaking of the seasons and the greetings, what food are we feeling today?
I don't know if that intertwined, but okay.
It did because it rhymed.
Right. Yes.
Wait, the seasons and the greetings.
And the greetings.
What food are we feeling?
Anyway,
Anyway.
Nathan, what food do you feel?
What food am I feeling like today?
Yeah.
Ooh, what food are you feeling like today?
Fruitcake.
Ew. Fruitcake?
I mean,
Yes.
I get where you're
No.
going with this, but I'm gonna let you. Yeah.
Fruitcake is disgusting.
I'm feeling dense and fruity. Pause. Dense and fruity. That's what I got. That's what I got.
Can we keep that?
Rose is gonna have to check that one.
No.
Lord.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Denson. Yes.
Our social media manager is gonna have a
Y'all,
field day
I'm
with this
so tired.
episode.
But
Journey, how are you?
I'm feeling like
Dense and bright.
ramen.
Like ramen.
Wait,
Explain
like,
that.
Or
cup noodle or
No,
ramen?
like ramen.
I'm feeling
Like
great.
yes, I'm feeling good. Even though I maybe I like feel warm and like fuzzy. Maybe because it is the season's greetings, and I don't know. I'm ready for the holidays. Like to be bundled up, warm and cozy, and open some gifts. Yeah.
Okay, so mine is not gonna make sense, so just bear with me.
Mhm.
I'm feeling like ham.
Oh.
But that's only because no. Hear me out though. Hear me out. Cause
I'm feeling like ham.
it's 57 degrees out today. This is like, I love this weather because it feels like spring. Just stay with me. It feels like spring, and
I'm
I was
here.
thinking like, I know it's Christmas time, but I walked outside. It felt like April, and I was like, you know what? It feels like Easter.
Like ham.
Easter, like Easter ham.
Y'all have ham
'Cause
at Easter?
Easter, like it's known for
Nathan.
Easter ham, or at least in my
I've
household.
never heard of that. I don't
Really?
think. No, but
I
also
thought
don't-
Christmas was ham.
Let me not sit here and say I don't.
In my
I like
household,
Skittles.
Easter's ham.
Oh.
Easter is ham, peach cobbler. So maybe a peach cobbler too.
Oh my
I'm just
gosh.
feeling very spring right now because the
Okay,
weather outside is
okay.
like 57 degrees.
The weather
The weather
outside
outside's
is
like
So,
global warming.
you know, and I wanted to keep it festive because we're talking about holidays. Just I'm on a different type of holiday.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what? All the seasons, all the
You know?
greetings.
Love it. Love it.
Speaking of food
Yes.
and eating and what we eat during holidays,
Excuse me, I don't-
eating in general, I want to shift gears to You Ate That,
Yes.
specifically to the Philadelphia Office for Youth Engagement, because today's focus is politics. I don't know if we brought that up already, but
We
the
probably
fo-
did it
We
with the
did not.
ham.
The focus of
intersection.
today's
breaking news.
episode is youth engagement, specifically in politics. So it's crazy that Philadelphia quite literally has an office dedicated to youth engagement in politics
Yes,
and
I
making
love.
sure that, the young people from 18 to 25 within the city are actively engaged in keeping the city afloat, making the decisions that help run the counties, helping out, just ourselves and other people.
Yeah.
So I want to give a special shout out to that organization because I'm telling you, I think that's something that more cities need.
Yes.
Something to make sure that the young people, they still have a voice. Because I feel like it's so common for young people to be complaining about different things and not necessarily going out and taking the
Acting
action.
upon it.
Exactly.
Yes.
So a special shout out to that organization specifically, or that sector of government, because you really are making the difference. But that being said, I want to move on to our... Hey, whoa.
Bring
forget
Did
to
someone-
silence
did
their
someone
phone.
that's what I was about to say.
I'm so my fault, y'all. It's it's always me. Hello, Pookie and Ray Ray. All right, leave it on the step. All right, cool. Y'all, my takeout's here.
Sorry, y'all know I be hungry.
Okay.
Okay.
What is it?
What'd
What
you get
is
me?
it?
Come on.
This is a box of sprinkles.
Spring.
I'm sick of
Sprinkles?
it. You know what? Just
You said
Sprinkles
spring
are good.
rolls?
takeout.
Spring-
Cut to the takeout.
sprinkles,
Cut
like-
to the takeout.
Take out
Yeah,
our
box
section
of
where we
sprinkles.
head to the streets and ask the people what they think about today's topic. And the topic for this episode, like we said, youth
It's
engagement.
politics and youth engagement. Yes.
So let's see
Engage
what
the
the youths of Philadelphia had to say. What is a daily problem that you notice here in the city of Philadelphia?
I mean, gentrification, especially in Philly, like the West Philly community especially. Like, I know that Penn has continuously been expanding, and, you know, an unfortunate consequence of that is that it's been buying up property around West Philly. It's raised prices and is displacing a lot of people out, so especially renters. So that's a huge issue. I think that, you know, especially with social services, I think that like Philly's a great city, but I think that there's sometimes like a lack of adequate care, especially like with like pothole manhole covers or like a couple weeks ago, like there's still that steam that's been emitting from that manhole cover. It's been lasting for like the past 3 months. So certain things not getting fixed, that's certainly an issue.
On a smaller level, the disgusting steam that comes out of the grate. On a larger level, I think that people aren't always super kind to one another, and there's obviously like a large homeless problem that's really saddening, especially as the weather gets colder and it leads into winter.
Yeah, I agree completely. And I just think that as Penn students, like, we need to give back to the Philadelphia community on a larger level.
I feel like right now, at least in like the space that I am in, I notice that there's like a very large wealth gap here, especially in like the gentrified areas of Philly. So really all of Philly. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of ignorance, especially amongst like the privileged population in Philly. And you notice like you'll look around and you'll see people that are of lower income like put out of their homes or on the street. They're without food. So I feel like that's maybe even like the biggest issue here right now.
What are different ways you'd suggest young adults help combat that?
I feel like really being aware and like understanding your degree of privilege and like I guess locally understanding like where the problem spaces are. I know around here it's like the first step is really understanding like you're in a space that you're not meant to be in, but they kind of disregard that and we're here anyways. So having that understanding and like not looking at the people that are pushed out of their spaces as like bad people because they're angry, like yeah.
Is voting something that's personally important to you? Why or why not?
Yeah, I think voting's really important. Like we've all seen what happens like when people don't show up to the polls, like certain groups like kind of take over, and so I think if everyone shows up and like votes for what they believe in, I feel like the results will be more fair.
And my last question is voting something that's important to you personally? Why or why not?
It is very important to me just because I feel like I'm of a lot of backgrounds that are particularly like, I'm not someone that can just sit back and like just be like, oh, it is what it is. Like, I don't want to talk about politics. I don't care about voting. It's just because like my identities are always like at the forefront of issues. So it's like I need to really be out there, like making sure that there's people who respect who I am and like care about who I am. So yes, voting is very important to me.
Yeah, voting is probably one of the best ways I can make my mark on democracy. Like, even if it's a more symbolic vote, like, even, like, for example, Philly is a pretty blue city. Like, even though we're in a swing state, which is why our vote matters so, like, relatively more on, like, a federal level, like, within Philly, it's an overwhelmingly blue city. So, like, my vote in the mayoral election may not matter as much, but, like, things like school board elections or city council elections matter so much more, just because of like how underreported these races are. There can be bias, especially with like, you know, on the ballot. So making sure you can do your research and understand who the candidates you're voting for are and what they'll do for the city matters so much.
That was amazing. I really like the different unique perspectives on what everyone had to say.
I love how educated it seems like a lot of the students, because
Yeah.
we shot that on
Yes.
UPenn's
UPenn's
campus
campus.
in University City, and I love how educated that a lot of the students seem to be.
Yeah, and how willing they were to talk about it. Because I was like, we had multiple meetings about this, and we were like very nervous. Like, will we get people to answer these questions and everything? But it was so surprising and sort of like inspiring in a way to see so many students like around our age, like, hey, I want to say this. I have something to say.
Exactly. And I
Yeah.
think doubling back to being educated, I mean, granted, well, no, I'm not even going to say that, because I was about to say we're on an Ivy League campus, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think that gives more merit to being educated on politics. I think being educated on such a topic is something that everyone should be. But often that's not, available in schools. That's not provided in schools. So I want to
Yeah.
know, what were you guys taught about, political involvement, or, just like the inner workings of the U.S. government in school?
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I seen a post the other day that was like, y'all love to talk about what celebrities have going on. Do y'all know the 3 branches of the government? And you know what I
Yes.
said? Do you want to know what I said?
I want to know.
Presidential, legislative, and Congress.
Well, those are definitely
So-
3 branches of something, but not the government.
So then I learned it was judicial,
Sure.
legislative, and hold on, give me a letter.
E.
Executive.
Come on.
Yes, there you go.
Look
Now,
at me being all
I want to ask you
educated
though,
and
do you
stuff.
know what each branch of the government does?
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That's not. No,
Yeah.
that's not. It's okay. Yes, she do. She does. She knows.
The legislative makes the laws.
Yeah. Yeah.
right. Yeah. But
Now,
I
you learning that, who would you, or not, you learning
yeah,
that,
that
at such a
through
young age.
Instagram, like a
You know what I
post
mean?
or
I
something.
gotta do better. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, but what does that say about what you're offered in the places where you're supposed to be actively taught these things? It's
That-
Well,
It's very inequitable.
mhm.
Let's just start off by saying that it's very inequitable, because I think I was very fortunate enough to learn a bunch of this through, because I also have a special interest in like
yeah.
humanities, politics, and things of that sort.
Okay, flex.
So I took a lot of classes in that realm, both in my high school and in college. However, not everyone was afforded that same opportunity, and I think that speaks to how inequitable, the school system here in America is.
Mhm.
Mainly because I think this is required knowledge. This is something
Yeah.
that everyone should know.
Needs to know.
And the
Even
fact
if you
that,
fall asleep.
so many people aren't aware, what does that say about like our future? Because everyone's supposed to be voting. Everyone's supposed to have a voice. But if only the people who are fortunate enough to be educated on things like this and learning about it, then what does that say for the future about America?
Mhm.
The future of America, I should say.
I don't
How
know.
How about you, Journey?
Are you asking me a
Oh,
specific
well,
question or?
What were you taught in school in terms of?
Oh, yeah. Well, in school, there are like, in high school, there are 3 academic classes that you can take that involve like government and voting and everything. And there's American history, which is like not really like a politics class. But then you go to US Gov, and then you can do AP Gov, and AP US History, a push. So there are multiple branches that you can take, but as far as what the classes teach you, it's mostly by the book. Like every year, same layout, like these are what these branches do. This is what makes up the government, but it's never really more of the why you should do this, why it's so important for us young people to be out there. Like, we are in the most impressionable states of our lives. Like, we're the next generation that's going to carry on this voting and everything. So if we don't know, and then if we don't do what we don't know, how is that going to carry on? We have to keep passing this on, and it's sort of stopped at the moment. It's like been at a bit of a halt. So I think that says a lot about.
How do you think? Because you brought up a great point that we're supposed to be the generation that changes.
Yeah.
How do you guys think that Gen Z is doing so far in like ushering in change?
I think we're very vocal.
We bully Congress every day.
There is a bit of a
But
bullying.
listen, though, we get stuff done. Because listen, the boycotts, did you hear that Starbucks lost like $12 billion?
Yeah, they're scary.
We get it done.
Okay, so I will say I've heard conflicting reports, and yes,
Me too.
absolutely, I've heard conflicting reports that the 12 billion may or may not be to the boycott. So I don't necessarily know if we could say that for sure.
They might just be.
But there has been there has been, you know, a decent amount of, I mean, effort that's gone into boycotting large organizations that, you know, don't align with the values of a lot of Gen Z, which is across the board. But I would also say that we've showed so much mobilization, both in the streets over different political and social movements, as well as social media.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna bring up. I think that's one of like our biggest strengths in, like, even if you say superpower, that like we have the access to reach so many more people through social media, and people get creative with it, like the filters on TikTok raising money, the songs raising money that like people are actively sending out directly to the causes is so like amazing and inspiring, that like some 17-year-old or some 20-year-old in their room just was like, I'm gonna make this filter and I'm gonna raise money.
I'm gonna
And
make
it-
a change.
It did. They made a change. Like, I think that's amazing that we can do that.
You know what I love about us? 5 minutes. We're arguing about whether you butter a croissant or whether you don't. Give us 2 seconds for something really political, like for some injustice. We're all together. We are banded all together. I love that about Gen Z. We can really, like, Gen Z, as much as we don't have a time and place situation, when it comes to when we really gotta, you know, stand on business, time and place really comes in.
I 1,000% agree. I love that you brought up the TikTok songs and filters, though, because I have like pretty conflicting feelings about that.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna be honest with you, like full complete transparency, I get kind of nervous with those things. Because I'm thinking, is the money actually going towards
to-
that, or
yeah.
is this like virtue signaling? Like, are you just saying like, oh, I'm gonna like donate the money just so your song can spread, or like use this filter? Because now it's like my For You page. For like the past couple of months, it's just been like, oh, this filter helps. This filter does this.
multiple.
This
It
filter
takes
does
10
this.
seconds.
This song, and it's
Yeah.
like, I get it, and I know some people are genuinely, you know, helping out. They're donating their proceeds, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I feel like I get scared that not a lot of people, just as many people who are doing it for good are the same amount of people who are doing it specifically just so
For
For exposure.
attention,
for
exposure. Yeah.
exposure.
I feel like there's always a risk, you know, with anything. But the fact that even the possibility that there are people who are sitting down to do this for good says so much. And, you know, the only thing you can do is do your part by just offering help, you know? And I think that's as much as we can do, and that's as much as we need to do, you know, whatever. It's super duper duper unfortunate if they're doing it for like the wrong reasons or anything. But the small chance or even the big chance that they're doing it for the right reason and you were a part of helping that out, like, I think that's amazing, and I'm willing to take that chance, you know.
Beautifully put. Beautifully put. Sorry, I'm
Thank you.
stumbling over my words today. But no, that's one way that we could help out. What
Yeah.
are some other ways?
What are some ways you help out, Taylor?
What are some ways I help out?
Yeah, Houston.
Specifically with what's going on right now, or what are the ways that I help out?
Just in general. Just
Okay, y'all. So not like a
But
promo
not too
for
general.
myself. Oh no, I got it. I got.
Yeah, you got it.
Look, I'm gonna do it.
Go ahead.
Not like a promo on myself, but a couple years ago. What year was this? We were still wearing masks. Okay, hold on.
2021.
2021. Okay, I wrote a poem. It is entitled "Wake Up," and it was basically like, you know how I said Gen Z, we're bullies, and I can say that I may or may not be a Generation Z bully. So basically, what it was a poem that kind of describes the struggles of being Black in America, but it was directed towards, how do I put this? Okay. Those who are not Black in America. Okay. You picking on what I put. Okay. So basically, it was just like like kind of the same thing that's going on with the whether to boycott or not right now, and the boycott, what is it, fatigue or whatever. It's not like if you're not standing with the people that need help. It's just like I'm not standing with them. It's like you're looking intolerance in its face and going, I want a Big Mac. Like, come on, y'all. It's a Big Mac. What's special about a Big Mac? There are people, like, I feel like I kind of got off here. There are, basically the point of the poem was to say, like, you don't get to use your uneducatedness or your unexperiencedness as an excuse to be like, well, you know what? This doesn't affect me, so I don't have to do anything about it. It's not particularly affecting you in your house, but everything that everybody does affects everybody because we're all on this planet. We all got to live. We all wake up and go to sleep. Love each other, why don't you?
That was
Just
so
saying.
good.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Jay.
that's a
Why
word.
don't you? Thank you.
That's a word.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and you bring up a great point. Like art, like it was a
Yes,
poem.
it
Like
was a
art
poem.
is a way that
It
you
was a
can
poem
help.
and a light show.
Yeah, and I think Gen Z is so good at like different forms of art. Like a new form of art is created every day, basically.
And we're not afraid to take it.
Yeah, and like show it. Like I think that's something, like that's why we're so vocal about it. No matter how we're doing it or no matter how we're voicing it, like it's being said and it's being heard, and
Now-
you can't ignore it.
We are
Yeah.
bullies, and
We're
it's
vocal.
you will see this whether you like it or
Some
not.
of us are bullies. Let's not
Okay,
say all of
alright,
us are
alright.
bullies because
Some of
But-
us are nice.
we bullies. We
I
bullies.
am.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
I am.
Do you guys think there's going to be consistency in that though? Because I think back to
No.
what
Oh,
and you know what? And that's real. But elaborating on that point though, I think back to the baby boomers. I believe it was the baby boomers. And
sorry.
yo,
Okay.
the baby boomers and like the 60s, 70s Vietnam War protests or just like the protests for peace. That was a huge
That was
thing.
standing
Yeah.
on business.
But we saw that quickly faded out as many of them got
Yeah.
older, and now they seem to be at odds with Gen Z values. And I'm thinking, what are the chances that happens to Gen Z?
Well, there's always generational wars. Like
Yeah.
you can't help it. Like remember millennials and Gen Z were beefing. Why can't I wear my tights? I can't wear my skinny jeans.
We're
Like,
not beefing
I
anymore?
think
and then your jeans are too big.
We're
And
not
it's
beefing
like,
anymore.
They're that's what I'm saying. It's always beef.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
Well-
so I feel like
But like,
the only way is like you just have to stand on your point. You know.
But I entirely agree. Do you think there's going to be a political? Because I wouldn't say there's political differences between Gen Z and millennials for the most part. Do you think that there's going to be a point? Is it like a cycle of history where we're young and progressive right now? Not like we're young and progressive right now, but Gen Z as a whole is going to turn towards being, like the baby boomers one day, and just
It's
like
sort of happening.
it is happening,
is.
and I
Like, at
feel
the
like
moment, and
I
it's kind of
feel like-
scary, but
I'm sorry.
oh god.
I feel like the issue isn't going to be within ourselves. I genuinely feel like it's going to be the way that baby boomers are, baby boomers kind of feel like we're just kind of out there and we do whatever we want. That, and I can't speak on everybody, of course, but for me, that's kind of the way I look at Gen Alpha. Like, because when they grow up, I like, personally, from all the Gen Alpha kids I've seen, well, not all of them, that's not true. A lot of the Gen Alpha kids I've seen, how do I put this? Ooh, okay, it's getting hot in here. If I could say one word, it would be entitled. And I think just simply because of the amount of like
Access.
the access
They
that
have
we
a lot
have,
of access.
like these kids, and they have everything. They can get anything. Like
Even like an iPad, like everything is at the tip of their
has
finger.
an iPad, and then I
Like-
feel like with the iPads and having everything at the tip of your fingers, if it's not properly monitored,
Monitored and monetized.
that's monitored and monetized. Let's really talk about it. This is how we end up like desensitized to a
Yeah.
lot of things. We end up desensitized. We end up again with a sense of entitlement, because why can't I have my iPad at the dinner table? Spend some time with your mom.
Yeah, like,
she
it's-
works really hard for that iPad that you play on. Okay, love her.
not to dove too far off the topic. I do want to say, you guys know exactly who you sound like.
Who I sound like?
Uh-oh.
Millennials.
Oh. That's what I'm saying. It's
like Gen X,
happening already.
and I mean, like, it's going to happen, but not.
because I can't handle one more skibbity dibbity dip. Like, bro,
You guys sound like,
Scoop?
and I can't even say millennials because I don't think millennials are. I genuinely do not think millennials are as critical of Gen Z as like Gen X would be, as baby boomers, things like that. Like, I think there's a stronger tie between millennials and Gen Z.
Yeah.
However, the fact that we're already turning around and saying, okay, but Gen Alpha is worse.
Oh,
Yeah.
know?
Well, yeah.
The generation's always going to want to punch down. But in that same vein, though, I'm just hoping that, as a generation, it is my hope that, like, we continue to stand on business.
yeah.
Like, the same values that we have now, because
And we pass it down.
Yes,
exactly,
because
like,
Even
baby,
if we disagree on certain stuff, like
Uh-huh.
this.
like, politically,
Yes.
culturally.
really think the way that like we be standing on business with social media, these Gen Alpha kids, that's gonna be a problem. And I hope for everybody's sake, they don't ever have to have like a come to Jesus moment. Like, when we had to do the Black Lives Matter protest and everybody and their mom was out somewhere doing something. Listen, they gonna tear it down. They gonna get it done.
Listen, and protesting is another way of, fighting for
Advocacy.
change, advocacy. But I think we missed the most important part: voting.
Oh yes.
Got to vote.
Voting.
Yes.
You got
You
to.
know, I'm
The
telling
actual
I gotta
action
vote.
to
the
take.
actual action to go out and create or help create policy
I
and
gotta
push for
vote.
policy. It's voting.
Yeah.
And it was so refreshing to see how many of the students at UPenn on University City's campus would continuously say, like, yeah, voting's really important to me. Because that's how it should be. You know what I mean? That's what places like or organizations such as like the Philadelphia Office for Youth Engagement are fighting for, to get younger people as interested in voting. Because
Yeah.
right now it seems like a lot of the people who are voting are like traditional, like we said, we keep bringing up baby boomers, but like that
Yeah,
age
y'all
right
leave
now,
these baby
like
boomers alone.
55 and plus, they seem to be who's going out to the polls, but we also need
Yeah.
us out there too.
I feel like voting has to be pitched. We're a very special breed of people, and I feel like voting just has to be pitched differently. Like,
Also,
Pokemon
go to the polls?
You know what I'm saying?
Stop.
Like,
Nathan, put the mic down.
what if you could vote from home? Because a lot of
well,
people
that
say
was
is-
offered during
that
the
was
pandemic.
offered during the, no, I mean like just a app.
Electronically?
Yes.
that would be
Because listen.
I don't
Because
know.
a lot of
I feel like y'all need to get out.
a lot of
Like,
I know. Just touch some grass. But a lot of like from what I've heard from a lot of Gen Z is that like I just don't feel like going to the polls because I don't have a car and I don't and baby, if you can scroll on TikTok, you can hit this button and tell me who you want for president.
yeah. I mean,
interesting take, yeah.
Interesting
Yeah.
take. But like voting, I used to go to vote with my mom every single time.
I used
Voting
to be
doesn't
so
take more than
fun.
15 minutes unless there's like a really long line.
Yeah,
And
you get a little boost.
if we
in
not voting, where's the line?
it should be a TikTok poll.
Yeah.
It should be.
Stop.
Let me tell you, they're going to get so
Vote for
they're going to
president.
go through the roof with the amount of polls. They're gonna be like, the server's down. I'm sorry.
Stop TikTok wars.
I mean,
oh my god, like a live stream with the battle.
Yes,
the next presidential debate should just be on TikTok Live. Instagram Live.
I
They're
genuinely
not
think
even in the same room. They're just like,
I genuinely think that they might have done that. Like not them not being in the same room, but them streaming the
Stop.
Yeah.
I think they've done that.
So-
yeah. Listen, but I mean, at the same time, not everyone's able to vote, and that's the issue.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people who are convicted of felonies aren't able to vote. A lot of people on permanent resident status aren't allowed to vote in certain elections, like your green card.
Oh, okay.
So people who aren't who are living,
Are you serious?
people who are permanent residents of the United States, so like they have their green card, they're allowed to live here, but they are not allowed to vote.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? And I feel like we're missing a big chunk of the population that can vote, or
Yeah.
I mean that should have a voice
Yes.
of reason, of age.
Yeah, because they live here. Like
And they
this,
can't.
they're part
Like
of
this
this
affects
world.
us all.
Listen, I'm telling you. And I feel like those are different because I'm going to be honest with you. Voting is the most effective way to incite change in a lot of scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it doesn't necessarily speak for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like the government as a whole, a lot of people, this has been a very common topic of conversation, really. A lot of people are saying that, the government doesn't necessarily speak for them.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, how exactly do you get the government to speak for you if we are the ones voting for them?
We didn't do that.
Elaborate.
Like, hold on. I'm gathering it.
Mm-hmm.
So the people that are in Congress right now, I'm figuring it out. They've been there for a long little while. They've been there, and that's all I'm going to say. They've been there for a while. They've been there. Nope, can't say that. Okay. They've been there through some presidents, is what I'm going to say. They've been there through some presidents. And in between having some presidents, a lot has changed. Right? So we have people in Congress, and I'm not bashing anybody. I love America. We have people in Congress who are aligned.
I'm sorry.
We have people in America who are aligned with what George Bush had, but George Bush isn't here anymore. Now we have Joe Biden. But like the difference between what happened when Bush was in office and when Biden was in office, how do we have them making the rules? Half of the rules don't even apply no more.
And you're speaking on it. You're
Half of the
speaking
rules
on
don't
it.
even apply no more. We got let's do it. What's the least controversial I can get here? Marijuana, right? In Congress, there are people who genuinely believe, right? Marijuana is a gateway drug and that's how you become a crackhead. Simple as that. That's what they put out. That was the propaganda that was put out, right? This generation here, it ain't that. It is not that. This has got to be the most pro-marijuana generation since the 70s. But like, weed isn't legalized though, because we have people in Congress saying, if you smoke weed, you're going to be a crackhead.
So how do we mitigate that?
We vote.
Well, I mean, we vote, yeah, but there's still going to be people of like different generation, like an older generation who
Who
isn't
believe
necessarily
that.
as
And that's fine.
up to date. So how do we mitigate that? Because they're the people who
We
are
gotta
speaking
get-
for us.
We gotta get the people. First of all, we have to get everybody's vote. Because what do you mean I'm a permanent resident of this country? I could go to war for this country, but I can't vote for my president? Are you serious? That's interesting. So I can go to war and I can fight for this country. I can't pick the president though. Sorry.
Do you think there should be, and I hate to
And then there's people who are wrongfully convicted. I'm not even a felon. I ain't even do the felony. Somebody just said I look like Brian Manson.
Oh.
And now I just came up with that name. But that's what it really be. That's what it really be. No, I just came up with it. No, I just came up with it. But that's how it really be. That's how easy, especially for black and brown people, that's how easily you can be put in jail. Because you looked like somebody who did something, you gotta go.
No, I know we're laughing, but genuinely,
Yeah,
This is
you're
so
making
for
good
real.
points.
genuinely, that is a word right there. That's a
Thank
point.
you. Thank
You know what I mean? And then those people are immediately dissolved from their right to vote. And what does that say?
We're dissolved from our right to choose who gets to tell me what to do.
Yeah, where I live
You don't tell
permanently.
me what to do in my house.
Exactly.
It's like coming into my house, sitting on my couch, putting your feet on my couch and going, you know what? It's mine now. Get out. Get out.
And that's fair. That's fair. I completely
Yeah.
understand that.
And we need some more women.
Very
Because
much.
who speaks
Amen.
for the women? The men?
Come on.
That was
Come on.
kind of a bar. Like,
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Really?
So where do we go from here?
Yeah.
No?
Where do we go from here? I think that's a question that,
That's the hardest part.
yeah. It's like,
Because
how do you really answer, you know?
It's going to be subjective. Everyone's going to have their own
Yeah.
answer. And I think
I think that's
That-
something that the listeners could ponder on,
Yeah.
like
that
a
is
lot.
something
And
that the
then,
listeners could ponder on. That's something, I mean, we could also ponder on too.
yeah,
Because it's pretty subjective. Everyone's going to have, and part of the problem is, it's part of the problem, but also part of the solution. Everyone has a different take and understanding.
Mhm.
And I mean, on one hand, that's what makes it harder to enact change because everyone wants something differently. But at the same time, that also brings in new ideas because
Yeah.
not everyone's thinking the same exact way.
yeah.
So I think it's really about perspective and finding the balance. And
Yeah.
I know that's such
And
like a
listening, yeah.
that's such a easier said thing than done.
Yeah.
But genuinely,
But
if you
it's
look,
truth. Like,
And it's hard because, like, it's kind of discouraging because, what were the statistics you said earlier? There was more voters in 2018
2018.
than there was in 2020.
Yeah,
But then there was more.
it was
there-
less.
There was less voters in 2018 than there were in 2014, but there was more in 2020. But like, it's kind of.
no, you're probably. My brain was just struggling to do the mapping and the math, but you're probably. I'm just gonna take your word for it.
It's allegedly. so you know, it's kind of discouraging because it's like, okay, say I go out, Lolo me, I go out and I vote in the 2024 election, right? And the person that I feel could best represent me and my country, they don't win. It's kind of like, it's like,
That's when you stay active, though.
that's when you stay active.
That's when you get more active,
here's-
if anything.
I just came up with a great analogy, right? So when the Eagles lose, don't hit me. Okay. Whew. Okay. If the Eagles lose,
yeah, if, not when.
the entire city of Philadelphia goes into a riot, and that puts a fire in the tush, right?
And that's how we.
So what if we all got active and we put a fire in the tush of Congress?
And
Yep.
that's that.
Like
That's
that's
that.
really
And
the
that's
only
that.
way we enact change.
yeah.
And that's that.
It's by
I think-
changing.
It starts with us.
Yeah,
it starts
it
with
starts with
youth
us.
engagement in politics, and I think that's a great place to end.
Yep. That was a great
Beautiful.
place to wrap it up.
We'll just leave it to the viewers, to the listeners, to again, incite change on your own. Ponder over the things that
Vote if you
you're
can.
upset with, the issues, whether it be local, regional, or national,
Yeah.
and invoke change the best way you see fit. But until then, we invite all of our listeners to join us again and stay hungry.
Stay hungry. I'm sorry, y'all.
And stay
Y'all
active.
know I'm the
We'll
way.
get it
I'm
one day.
sorry.
We'll get it.
I'm
We'll get it.
sorry.
And stay active too.
Yes.
Till next episode, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And take care soon.